Hey, what's up, everybody? It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I really needed to do something, uh, put up a video, do whatever it is. But tonight we are out here at going to go see Late Night with the Devil. I've been interested in this one. I really don't know what to expect. I kind of feel like it's going to be a little bit artsy, and hopefully it has decent scares, a little more like psychological scares is kind of what I'm thinking. So I don't know what to expect. I know that a lot of people have really liked it. Some people I really respect have really liked it, got to see it early. And we had to go way out of our way to actually find this theater. So I kind of want this experience a little more than just watching it like a VOD type of thing, or like screeners are great. I have no problem with screeners and people getting them. It's good that some people are able to do that, but I like the theater experience. I just hope that we don't have a bad theater experience, because out of the last like 3 things that I've seen in the theater, I've had 2 terrible experiences with people in the theater. So we'll have to see what's going on. But yeah, I think that it looks interesting. It looks like it's somewhat original, at least in terms of thought and the way that they're doing it. I just hope that it doesn't like bog down. That's my biggest fear with these types of movies, is that it goes and bogs. And I know that there's some type of like controversy with this in terms of some of the artwork that was used inside of the movie and like touch-ups and stuff with AI, but I'm going to throw that off to the side and just kind of enjoy the context of the movie. How well is it written? How well is it acted? And we'll see what happens. And probably when you see me next on this video, I'll be sitting at home and talking to you about it after I've had some time to decompress and, think about everything. Especially, like, the nice thing about doing that, at least for me on the way home, is that when I would have to drive out of my way, I've got like 30 minutes to kind of think through things, instead of, it's still initial reaction, but I have a little bit of time to decompress and kind of think about what's going on. So we'll see what happens when we finish the movie. So I'll see you guys in just a moment. Hey, what's up, everybody? So I'm back from seeing Late Night with the Devil. Holy crap, is that a good fucking movie? I think that so far is the best movie I've seen this year. And I haven't seen a whole lot, like at least in theaters. We saw a couple of things, some things that don't really count as movies, or movies that are like new. Like I went and saw End of Evangelion because I love that show. It's like one of my favorite shows from my teenage years of watching anime. And we went and saw like the Demon Slayer movie, which really wasn't a movie. It was more of just 2 episodes stitched together. But oh my god, I am just like really flabbergasted by this movie and what it has done with what it has. So I'm gonna warn you right now, this is going to be somewhat spoiler filled. So I'm going to talk about the movie because I'm going to talk about parts that I really liked, and some things maybe I found was a little silly. And because one, it's out. It is coming to Shudder, I believe, in April. I think the second week of April, you'll be able to watch it on Shudder. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it in the theater, you should definitely go and watch it on Shudder. It's really well done, like amazingly well done for what they set out to do for this. Like it perfectly captures what they're trying to do. One of my favorite things is the way that it's shot, right? So, and I know somebody gave me crap a little while in the comments about this, but it was part of like my 31 and 31 movie reviews. And if you've ever seen any of those, when I do those, I only do like 3 to maybe 6-minute reviews. I do them really short and succinct because I'm doing 31 reviews, and I don't need to do half an hour to 45-minute reviews every day for every single movie that I see on those. And they're meant to be bite-sized so that I can put them on other places and give you a taste of kind of what I do. So I just want to address that one comment I got recently on one of those videos, right? Not on the other ones that are 30, 35 minutes, 45 minutes long, where I actually go into depth about what I'm talking about in the movie and those things. But yeah, so I want to get that out of the way because it's been bugging me a little bit, and I haven't created new content on this channel for a while. So I apologize. And the thing is that I had like 3 videos that were raring to go and that I could have done, but I just didn't feel like they were good enough to put up, or just not in what I wanted to do. So maybe they'll see the light of day. I don't know. Especially the one for Thanksgiving. I think that one maybe I should just bite the bullet, put it up, even though it's super late for that movie. And that one was like right after we saw it too. But nonetheless, but I do want to talk about this movie. I want to talk about specifically Late Night with the Devil. So what is this movie about? Basically, it's about a dude, a late night talk show host, right? Jack. And Jack he rose to fame alongside Carson, okay? And then, so this is the footage from the night that he has a special guest on the show who happens to be possessed by a demon, right? It's not the devil. Like if you're going in there and you want to do about Satan and stuff, she is possessed by a demon, right? And there's a little bit of other stuff that kind of go along. And so the beginning of the movie is relatively slow. I don't hold it against it because I think that even though it's a little bit, it's not like when I say slow, like getting into the meat of the film. And once it really gets into the meat of the film, I just felt like it went by way too fast. And maybe that's like kind of like the thing that I'm thinking in the background. So this is all about that night, right? And what I love the most about this is the way that they decided to present it. And so majority of the film that you're going to be watching is presented in 4:3. It's like you're watching it on old school TV set back in the day, a tube TV that the color is a little bit washed out, that it's from the perspective of, like you're watching it at home, that type of camera from the taping of the actual thing. And that's all in color, but they do like behind the scenes stuff that's going on. And all of that is your standard, definition, your standard theatrical widescreen. And it's all in black and white until the end, right? And I love that choice. I think that that's an amazing choice. I was enthralled. I noticed it in the beginning and I was like, this is kind of cool. But as the movie went on, I totally forgot that it was even going to be screened in any other way until all of a sudden you saw everything. I was like, oh, holy shit. I forgot that they're doing this because I was so enthralled with where everything was going in it. I think that the acting in this movie is absolutely amazing. The girl that plays Lily, and like I said, these are right after I watch these, so I'm not looking up the actors and actresses and giving you all the names, and I might forget the names of characters and shit like that. But that actress, that young actress, is fucking amazing. Absolutely amazing. Perfectly creepy, perfectly like cute and bubbly, and just like the perfect choice for this. And everybody else does really well. Her caretaker June, the doctor that's a parapsychic or something like that, she does a really good job. The asshole fucking dude that is the skeptic that comes onto the show, he does a really good job. I didn't like him in the beginning of the movie. I'm gonna just flat out, I thought he was weak. I thought that the character was weak, and I thought the acting was weak until things really clicked with him and who he's portraying. So I don't know the name of the dude off the top of my head, and I'm pretty sure that somebody's going to tell me in the comments exactly who this guy is. But there's a very famous guy that basically was going to anybody that could prove to him that they were truly psychic, he would give them money. He had a check and he'd give them the check, and he spent a lot of his life disproving psychics. And you're like run-of-the-mill psychics. Eventually, he did give away the money, and I think it's because it was like assisted psychicness. Like the kid used a computer, I think, to determine things that there's no possible way that they could know about, and he couldn't prove him wrong, right? And so you have that guy on the skeptic on set, and that's basically what he's trying to do, is he's trying to prove everything that's happening there wrong. And then you have the one like fake psychic. Like it's one of those things where you have a psychic on set that's, he's doing the crowd reading. Do I Do I see a P, P tier, P tier Griffin? Yeah, Griffin. That's right. That's exactly the one I was talking about. Okay, now you got a son named Chris. Chris? Yeah, Chris. That's exactly what the world tells me. That type of guy. Except for, of course, he does have some type of psychic resonance, right? And he's able to detect somebody that's there who happens to be Jack's wife, right? And that goes into a lot of things. You learn a lot about Jack and his rise to fame and how his wife died from lung cancer, even though she never had lung cancer. And, that I guess her spirit is there when they do the whole thing. It's like I said, like that section of the movie. So the start of the thing, and there's a couple of hints in the beginning that they give you at how everything is kind of connected together in one way, shape, or form. And you can probably hear Charlie meowing in the background. And it's interesting in how they piece those things together, right? What I didn't like at the end of the movie is how they utilize something in the beginning of the movie. I felt like there needed to be a little more. One of the things that I do want to do when this comes out on Shudder is I want to go back through this movie and I want to freeze frame some things, because there is like a revelation that happens, or I wouldn't call it necessarily revelation. It's more like it's like a shock thing that goes on, and it's something for Jack specifically that they do. So they basically, I'm gonna explain it because I just can't. I have a hard time not doing spoilers when I'm talking about, especially a movie I really really like. So they have a scene where the skeptic guy, and this is a fucking amazing scene, by the way, and it's grotesque and it's perfect. I really love this. This movie's not very gory either, which is cool. It's not for emetophobes, because there is some projectile vomiting that happens in the movie. So if you don't like seeing throw up, that scene might not be for you, but it's in the first part of the movie, so it goes by relatively quick. But basically, so they've had the demon summoning, right? So Lily's been strapped to a chair, and she changed, like she has scars on her face now and like opening sores, and she levitated with the chair in the air and all this stuff. And so they decide, okay, Jack's fucking convinced that this is a fucking demon that we've got here, and oh my god, my ratings are gonna go through the fucking roof. I'm fucking back, baby. And then, but they go to the skeptic and he wants to refute it. And he's like, okay, I'll give you a chance to refute it when we come back from the break. And so when they come back from the break, he takes and Gus, I fucking love Gus. I think Gus is like your Ed McMahon sidekick, right? From back in the day, where he just kind of like says one-liners. Maybe he's the butt of a joke here or there, or he jokes on something every now and then. So Gus is there and he's like, oh, I'm going to use Gus as my, my specimen from the crowd. And so he sits Gus in a chair and he basically tries to do the same thing, but he hypnotizes the audience, right? And I did my hardest to not look into like the hypnotic thing, but it's really like in front of your face. It's a great camera trick, or I'd say more or less like, it's not a camera trick per se. I'm using the wrong wording there, but it's a good shot for the film and how it's trying to, because you just can't look away. And I was trying to look at everything else that was going on in the room, because I'm like, there's something else that's going to happen here. I just know it. And I figured out, after you get it, I was, one, fucking shocked. Two, I was like, that's fucking cool. So he does like the hypnotize thing, and he hypnotizes not only Gus, but the entire fucking audience, right? And when he does that, Gus thinks that there's like worms in his neck. And then as the audience and the viewer, like we're supposed to be the viewer at home, right? You see the worms come out of his neck. And then he's like, oh my God, I can feel them all crawling in me. So he lifts up his shirt and he starts peeling open his stomach, and the worms start coming out of his stomach. And the effect is pretty damn good. And the one that doesn't look the greatest, but I really appreciate practical effects, and I think that this works for that, is that like he stands up and then all of a sudden the worm starts like poking through his eyeball and out of it, and the eyeball looks really cheap, but the effect is really surprising. And I could hear gasps in the theater of people, not just gasps from the audience of the show, actually in the theater with that scene happening. It's a fucking beautiful scene and excellently done, and it shocked the fuck out of me for the way that scene ended up. And then all of a sudden they cut back and, he's like, this is not supposed to happen. And he's like, you really think that it's going on. Then all of a sudden, like, he snaps, and then everybody comes out of it, including the audience, and not everybody in the audience, like, actually experienced it. So only a couple that didn't. And there's Ace. You can see him here. He's coming by to get love while I talk about this. And so, he, yes, Ace. And so it's like, it's meant to disprove what happened with Lily and Julie, or June. I want to say Julie, but I think it's June. And so, then all of a sudden Lily goes like, why did you do that? And she's like, well, he played a trick on the audience, and it's not very nice to do that. And she's like, well, don't you want them to know? Like, play back my portion of the tape, because they play back his, and you see that nothing happened to Gus whatsoever. And so you have her then, like, she's like, no, play back the tape. And that's where, while they're doing the playback of it, and you see that, yeah, it's real because everybody saw it. And then supposedly the camera doesn't lie, right? They do that little thing that's going on there. And so they do that. And then all of a sudden there's like a jump in the tape. And when there's the jump, then you see a ghost that's standing behind Jack during that jump. And so when that happens, you notice that throughout the movie, there are those jumps constantly. It's constantly happening in the movie. And I'm wondering if you were to stop and you were to pause those scenes, would you see the same thing? Would you see little pictures of his wife like all over the place? Or would they insert little things? Because even at the end, they do a little jump at the very end of the movie. There is no end credit scene for the movie, but the words suddenly change for a second and then go away. And I'm like, there's gotta be more that's in it. It's just like everything, that it just works so well. And the pacing is perfect, and it's a perfect runtime at like an hour and 33 minutes. I think you probably bring it down to like an hour and 23-ish. I'd probably say there's maybe 10 minutes of credits, maybe not that. There's definitely a longer intro until we get to the point, like we start off with a narration explaining everything about Jack's rise to fame, as as my voice crackles there, rise to fame as a late night host and stuff like that, and how now he's struggling and everything that's gone with him. Like, it's very well done. I felt like I was laughing at things maybe that I didn't need to laugh at. I think that the set design was very good, very minimalist. The way that the crowd interact, the sound design of this movie is amazing, because there were a lot of times where I was sitting there and I really thought it was the people in the theater, but the way that the sound was bouncing off the walls and how you could hear it, like, I don't think that you can get that at home unless you have an excellent sound system. You've got like a 7.1 Dolby surround for your house that's perfectly positioned so that you get all the nooks and crannies of the sound when you're listening to something that's out there. A sound bar is not going to give it to you. The basic TV speaker is not going to give you it. But in the theater, I think only headphones would probably give you the same type of feeling that you would get in hearing this. But just to sit there and have it feel like it's coming from behind me, and it's very faint, and you'd hear the gasps and the other stuff from the audience, but then mixed with the real gasps from the audience that we had in there. We had a pretty full theater too, even though it was a smaller one out there where we're at. So I think that it does itself, you do yourself an injustice by not seeing this if you're into like really good like psychological style horror. I'm not going to say that it's like super scary, right? It is very interesting. I think that it has some scary ideas to it, and it has some scenes that could possibly give you a little bit of a jump scare, but there's no real jump scares in the movie. I mean, even when the demon shows up, there's one little bit where she pushes back June real fast, and then all of a sudden it's like she's there, and that one was the closest that I think that there was to a jump scare in the movie. And I just feel like there wasn't much else that would be like those type of scares in this type of movie, right? I think that if you're going in and you're expecting it to be this like super scary movie that is just going to like it could mess with you psychologically. I know that there are certain movies that have really done that to me, and it's just with the themes and everything. I don't feel like for me that this is that type of movie. I'm just really, there are questions that I have in this movie that I want to learn more about. Like, What I don't want is I don't want a sequel to this movie, right? I like the fact that I can go through and there are questions that I have for stuff that's going on in the movie. Like what the tall trees thing is. You get an explanation for it. I'm not saying that you don't know what it is, but I'd like to know like more about it, right? You find out about that stuff, and the tall trees thing is explained at the beginning of the movie, and it's explained at the end of the movie. And the cult that's involved with Lily is in there, right? They talk about that cult specifically in the center of the movie, where that's where you get a little bit more of the gore, right? There's not a whole lot of gore, and really not a whole lot of CG, like basically the worms and somebody's death, and I think the projectile vomit is CG. I think so. But like, it feels like it's not at the same time. But like a couple of the deaths that happen, they are not. There's not a whole lot of deaths in the movie. Just the characters that you think would die, right? That's kind of the way that I kind of went through with it. So in terms of just like kind of giving it a rating, like I normally would say on an episode of the podcast, that one, like I would say that the gore in this movie would be like a 2 out of 5. I think that it has its gory moments, but it's not overtly done. I might even bump it up to a 3 because of the worm thing with the worm in the face and the worm in the gut. It's pretty disgusting, and there's some other little bloody things that happen in there. The crap factor, I think this is a 1 out of 5. I don't think that there's enough that's silly in this thing to make it like really bad. Like there's and for those that don't even know what these are, right? Gore makes sense. Crap factor is really like how shitty are things, right? Like it can still be, with my movie scale, you can still have I only go 1 through 5. You can still do a 5 out of 5, but it still have a lot of things wrong with it because it's a fun movie and it's so bad it's good that, yeah, is it really shitty? Yeah, it's totally shitty, but it's so much fun that you don't care how shitty things are, right? So when you have that type of layer on it, you have there. But here, this is just, it's a one, like nothing really misses for me personally, because this is all my opinions, right? And as coming from it on a little, maybe sometimes I have to be a little more critical when I think about these things, but I'm not like a standard critic type of things. Like this is just like my thoughts and my going through things. Everybody has an opinion. Some people are going to totally disagree with me and be like, no, what? No, that was dumb. It was just wasn't entertaining. And it was this, yeah, that's you. But for me, I just don't see anything wrong with this movie. I try to look at things and I try to find, there's some, like I said, there are silly things that go on in this movie and things that I laugh about. And like, why would you, the moment that she does the levitation shit, or that, there's shit going on that this, psychic guy, Christo, I think is something like that. Like, he projectile vomits all over the place, and then all of a sudden you hear like an ambulance in the background. It's very, very silent, but even Jack gives pause for a second. He's just like, whatever an ambulance makes, because I'm terrible at noises. But when we have that, I would just get the fuck out of there. Like, I get it with Jack, okay? But like the other people, like Gus, Gus should be getting the fuck out of there. And they do say, one of the producer guys, he goes, yeah, a lot of the people have left. At one point he's like, 3 people of our staff have just left because they don't want to deal with this anymore. And I'd be like, I'm one of those people. I'm just going to get the fuck out of there rather than stay there. If I was in the audience and I see that shit, nope, I'm fucking gone. So like stupid things like that in terms of, but overall in the pacing and the narrative that's in the story and the way that everything is, the acting, the practical effects, even the minimal use of CGI, it even feels like it belongs in the 70s. Like she has some there's like an electric static pulse that kind of goes out when the demon does stuff, and you see it, and it feels like it's not, I know that it's computer generated, okay? I know that it is, but the way that they made it looks like it's like old school 70s, like animated on top of things, on the way that it is. Thematically, they just nailed everything about the time and the space for this movie is in. So I can't give it anything higher than a 1 in my opinion in terms of the crap factor. That's what it is. And then if I have to go with how much fun this is a fucking 5 out of 5. It's so good. It's so much fun. I was laughing and smiling and just being enthralled with where things are going and trying to understand what they're going to do next. How are they going to go to the next little part and where are they going to go from this stuff? I really wanted to see where everything was going to end up. And I was happy with the way that everything ended. Is it my favorite ending for one part of it? No. But I knew what was going to happen and how they were doing stuff and how they would get to that part of everything. There's something that happens and I won't necessarily, there's a cattail that's randomly showing up in this now because Luna's trying to find her spot on my goddamn lap while I'm doing this. But this is what happens when you live with so many pets. But there is, now she's got me all flustered with that. But there's something that happens right before the very end of the movie that's going through, like, it's Jack going through after everything is like, all the chaos has happened, right? Something happens with Lily and the demon, and then there's a bunch of stuff that seems to go on for about 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in between there. And it's a lot of the Jack stuff and finding out stuff to do with the occult, right? And while I just, like, they loosely tie things together in that, I knew where that connection was going to be there. I could tell that that's where they were going to go from the beginning of the movie. And then I knew that when he did what he was going to do, this one I'm going to not spoil. When he did what he was going to do at the end of the movie, I knew what the revelation of what that was, right? Who he was actually going to do it to. So, overall, this is a smashing 5 out of 5 possessed 13-year-olds. I just absolutely love this movie. I think that if you did not get a chance to see it in the theater, I think you've done a little bit of a disservice to yourself. I know it's not very easy to find this one in the theater. We had to go way out of our way to go see this movie in the smallest theater fucking possible. And I wish that this got a bigger theatrical release, because you have movies like fucking Night Swim and fucking Imaginary coming out, which are just garbage. That just absolute complete garbage that are being pushed out to us. Yes, they come out in January and February. I get it. This is a March movie. This is where you kind of get the start of better films to come out. But you have those movies, these giant fucking theatrical releases. And then you have this, which they make it seem like it's a small little art house type of movie. But this is better than anything that I've seen from Blumhouse in the past 2 to 3 years, right? It's a good story. It's good characters. It's good acting. It's good set design. It's good, editing, from sound design. Everything in this movie just fucking works so well that it really needed to be seen in a theater, right? If you see it when it comes onto Shudder, and you should, to just form your own opinion of the whole thing, I would suggest wearing headphones. If you have some good headphones, studio headphones, if you like to use earbuds and they've got like spatial type audio with them, if you can do that. I know a lot of people are going to want to watch this on their big screen TV, and you shouldn't necessarily be watching this on your phone. I don't think that for that feeling, for the picture, I think that you could watch it on a regular TV. I don't think that you necessarily need to watch it on a big screen, in the theater. But for sound design, I think that you need to figure out how you're going to get that and how you're going to replicate that. And I think headphones are going to be the way to go, right? When you see this, because just having the audience be a part of your own audience while you're there watching it it just was an amazing feeling. So, yeah, if you guys saw it, let me know in the comments below if you got a chance to see it. I know that it didn't get a big theatrical release. I know that I'm spoiling some things in this, and that if you plan to watch it later on Shudder, even if I spoiled some things, I didn't spoil some major things. Basically, really only one scene for the most part, and a couple little things here or there. But I think that you're still going to really love it. And just the journey of this is definitely one of those films where it's the journey of from start to finish of where are we going to go, how is it going to go through this, what exactly are they going to do with everything. I think that really is what's going to get you. So thank you guys for checking this out. If you like the content, I'm sorry, one, that I haven't put out more in the recent months. And I know that I've had a little more free time with things, but I just, like, part of me is just, I'm focusing on the podcast. I'm focusing on a couple other things, but I really need to get back to doing these type of things, even with some new stuff that comes out. And even if it comes out on VOD, I think I need to start doing a little more of these types of things. I always say that, and I really do mean it. I really do need to do some of that stuff. But you can always check out new episodes of the podcast. I'm still keeping up with those, and everything's there. New mini-sode. I'm probably going to talk about this a little more on that, but I'm going to be spoiler-free, I think, when we talk on that podcast episode, that mini-sode. So check out the Terrible Terror podcast. It's available on all podcasting platforms. And you can follow me on all things social. That's there. And then come join me. I'm usually, right now, because I sadly have a little extra free time that I don't want, I'm usually streaming over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Terrible Terrors. You can come over there and join me. Come join a chat. Usually Monday through Friday, not really on Saturdays or Sundays. I get reserve those for podcast recordings and some other things that I've got to do. Monday evenings, Tuesday evenings, and then Thursday evenings, and Wednesday and Friday afternoons. I'm available there. So come over there, join, have some fun. Let's chat for a bit. Monday's usually a horror game that I'm trying to play. I don't know what I'm going to be doing this Monday because I'm starting something new. But it should be fun. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys soon. All right. Bye, guys.